All right, welcome back to the Elias Makos Show. Let's talk organized crime for a bit, shall we? Just how bad is organized crime in Canada? Now, the U.S. has repeatedly accused Canada of being a key player in the fentanyl trade, and of course, those roads lead to organized crime. I know we've had a lot of discussion about what the true numbers are in Canada, right? We're just 1% of the amount of fentanyl that heads into America. But then I look at some other things. Certainly the fact that the largest fentanyl super lab bust ever happened in British Columbia. Now look at those things. And, just last week on the show, we spoke to journalist Sam Cooper, and he told us the story of money laundering in this country and how much money laundering has been happening in Canada. And we know, U.S. regulators have hit Canadian banks hard over money laundering, clearly ties to organized crime on that end. Now, we are now a country that has a fentanyl czar, right? Kevin Brosseau is the new fentanyl czar. He's got a big role in tackling that problem. But let's find out. Is organized crime, drug trade, is it really as bad as they say? Pietro Poletti joins us now, a retired Montreal police detective and mafia expert. Pietro, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Elias.
So just how bad? I mean, I've heard so many voices on this program. Money laundering, drug trafficking, just how bad is it in this country?
Well, it's very bad, especially when it comes to money laundering and drug trafficking. And if we go on the topic of the fentanyl, Canada is a major problem internationally also, based on our CMP reports and criminal intelligence reports.
Now, that leads me to the question, why is it bad? What is special about Canada that make it a spot where crime pays, organized crime pays so well?
Well, it does pay because the sentencing and the laws entice people to engage in criminal activity. There's no more minimum sentencing for possession of firearms, possession of or exporting of illicit drugs, and so that. And there's many over 600 criminal organizations in Canada that are operating within our borders. Mm. And when we speak about traditional organized crime, the bikers, they're nothing compared to other groups that are active. Mm. Everybody's taking part, and it's very easy to acquire the precursors, the substances to make fentanyl, and the machinery, which is not illegal in Canada, to obtain machinery to make the tablets.
Now, you brought up sentencing there. Tell me what happens in this country. If there is a bust and they close up a lab, what then happens? What's the sentencing or the lack of sentencing situation?
Well, there's no mandatory sentencing, so you could range from 2 years, 3 years. If there would be a deterrent, 10-year minimum for producing or selling, I think things would change. And the problem is that our border is very vast. It's huge, and it's virtually impossible to control our border, even though they appointed a great person, Kevin Brosseau, as the czar. But it's virtually impossible to secure our border. And there's also laws that we tend to forget that we have fast tracking of commercial goods going to the United States, fast lanes. Basically, there's no customs. You drive right through with the right documentation. If it's forwarded just an hour before, companies dealing with the United States, the truckers go right through. Mm-hmm. And that's a green pass for smugglers and people exporting narcotics.
We're with Pietro Poletti, a retired Montreal police detective, discussing organized crime in Canada, especially in light of the back and forth between Canada and the U.S. on fentanyl and money laundering. So, Pietro, let me ask you. You brought up Kevin Brosseau, and you had some laudatory things to say about him. If you were the new fentanyl czar, Kevin Brosseau, what would be at the top of your list? What would be your main goals and what you'd want to get done quickly?
Within our borders, I think we should fund local police departments, cooperate, have joint task forces, and go after the labs within Canada, British Columbia, Alberta, Quebec, Ontario. There was a big bust last year in Drummondville. And you mentioned in British Columbia, 95 million pills. So we got to attack, we got to go at the source, not at the border. Basically, to understand is that you don't put a security guard at a large-scale department store at the exit. You want to make sure that the people that are surveying inside the store who are shoplifting. So that is the problem. I think trying to control the border is virtually impossible when it comes to the illicit drug.
Is organized crime making the decision that, okay, they could set up shop in the United States or Canada, but because of the various things you've outlined, they're choosing to set up shop in Canada, whether it's because of lax sentencing or because it's easier here? Are we actually seeing that?
Yes, absolutely. You wouldn't want to set up shop in the United States if you get caught. You're looking probably at a life sentence, whereas in Canada, probably a slap in the wrist. And so we have to relook at everything, how we operate in Canada, the sentencing. And this is a problem that was brought up many years ago following the pandemic. Drugs were being produced in Canada, the synthetic drugs, opioids, fentanyl. There's other drugs that are being produced that are much more dangerous, and they'll be showing up in the market. So I think we have to start attacking the problem within our borders and start giving the police the mandate to go after the labs, which are over 60, I think, in Canada, based on reports, intelligence reports.
So let me ask you to wrap up here. Do you think the Americans have a point? I know it's a touchy thing to say that the Americans have a point because we're dealing with threats of becoming the 51st state at the same time. But do you think the Americans may have a point on Canada being lax on certain things and that we do have to do a better job here?
I think they definitely have a point, but at the same token, we also have a concern with the Americans. 91% of the firearms seized in Ontario came from the United States. So it's a twofold issue, and we need more cooperation on both ends.
Pietro, we're going to have to leave it there. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Pietro Poletti is a retired Montreal police detective.